Debbie Downers, they're everywhere, including in the Philippine expat community. I've been focusing more on some non-Philippine related stuff in a lot of my recent videos. But I was watching a video yesterday, a German guy, showing the little house he built in the Philippines. His final finished cost on it, it was like 1.7, 1.8 million pesos. I know when he divided when he told what the cost for a square meter of living space was, after he got done with the final cost, it was almost 25,000 pesos per square meter. He didn't actually tell how many square meters the house was, but by dividing the total price by that number, came up with about 72 square meters. Maybe 9 by 8, something like that, 7 by 10, kind of a small little house, and single story, pretty nice little place for somewhere like maybe around 35,000 US dollars maybe he spent. But of course, in the comments I saw there's somebody building a house you'll never be able to own. Good luck. And I thought, what an asshole, every time somebody puts up a video about something like that, you've got the same group of people who want to chime in with all their negative nonsense just to show how cool they are. They're never going to be an idiot who gets taken by some Filipina and spends money on her and loses it all, And you see that in so many different respects over there. You got the people who want to make it look like they're dating experts who all their advice revolves around how not to get scammed, while at the same time having a good time. I don't know, a lot of these guys, they're the rent forever crowd. I was telling someone who commented on one of my other videos about, talking about, buying land or, building a house in the Philippines and how much it costs and all that. I pointed out to him that, foreigners aren't allowed to have that stuff in their name. So you're building it for your wife, really. It's her property. And you want to make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of. If you're in a good, solid marriage and that's what you're doing for your family and for your wife, that's one thing. But obviously there are a lot of cautionary tales. One of my favorite tales, I thought it was pretty funny. It wouldn't be funny if you're the person it happened to, but my Philippine Dreams one time had a video about a guy, a doctor or something, that had gotten hooked up online with some girl over there in the Philippines. And so they decided they were going to have a house together. He was going to build her a house. And she would send him updated photos all the time about the construction process. And, we need money for this, money for that. And the house that she was sending him pictures of, it wasn't even theirs, He goes over there one day, and I guess we finally went over there in person to see it. And she took him by and showed him the site. And then one day he went back without her. And one of the neighbors was talking to him, and he's like, oh yeah, this is where my girlfriend and I were building this house. And the guy told him, yeah, that's like my brother's or my brother-in-law's house or something, totally ripped off, sending her money for this shit, and it was just a total scam. And you've got lots of people, the general preferred expat advice that you see from all those guys with YouTube channels has always been, don't spend money building a house and all that. Just rent, You can rent nice and cheap. You can't build a house and have it in your name anyway, so why put your savings and money at risk? You can just rent. If you feel like moving to a different place someday, you can just pick up and go and rent there, and you're not tied down. And it's become kind of cool for people to say that and to start ragging on anybody who actually builds a house there and makes that kind of commitment financially, Even I have said before, you know, it's kind of like Vegas. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. And a lot of people do lose a lot getting scammed with things. But still, every time somebody does something and they're happy and sharing their little video about, you know, the house they're building with their wife or whatever, you've always got the same crowd that jumps in and tries to tell them, yeah, good luck, you know, makes all the snide remarks and how stupid they are, and why would you do this when it can't ever be in your name, you know. That kind of ties in with a video I made a while back about, you know, being a good person is its own reward. You don't, you know, if you're the kind of person who's always thinking about what's in it for me, and looking for your own advantage and not thinking ever about just helping somebody else, you know, there's something wrong with that. Obviously, if you're moving to the Philippines and you're over there on your, you know, fixed income retirement budget, you can't afford to be running around just building houses for people for no reason at all. But if you're married to someone and it's a permanent, solid relationship, and that's what you want to do, there's no reason for other people to be, you know, tearing you down for that. You know, my wife and I, we got actually married in the Philippines. I remember back when we were some lady in an AMG Mercedes halfway in my lane. When we were getting married, you know, the mayor there married us, and we were talking to him when we went in to do the stuff to get our marriage license, you know, and we were signing everything, and he's like, there's no turning back now, you know. And you know, you get married to somebody over there, especially if you get married in the Philippines and you got two sincere people, you know, that's a lifelong thing. I know there are lots of people that get married over there and they're separated and living with other people and things like that. But a lot of people do take this stuff seriously. And if you're with the right person and you know what they are like, you know that you can trust that person to the extent that you would know it anywhere. Obviously, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, but if you find out that you're wrong over here in America, you know, you got married to someone here, you can always just get divorced and move on. Though, of course, you're probably, depending where you are, going to be giving them half of what you had. So that's the risk you take anywhere when you do anything. You get involved with somebody and you make a financial commitment and you get involved in building a house and things like that. But a lot of these guys, I think a lot of them are the kind of guys that just like to hang out in Dumaguete and Angeles City and, you know, hook up with bar girls and shit and want to feel like, look at me, yeah, I'm a cool guy, you know, and maybe they're trying to relive their glory days of going on R&R when they were in the military and hooking up with whores, you know. I used to work with a guy at the post office a long time ago. You know, he was always regaling us with stories of their trips, you know, from Vietnam on leave and Saigon and stuff, and all the whores, all the different places. He was always also wanting to tell you what a great Christian he was too, you know, so take that for what it's worth. A lot of great Christians frequenting the whorehouses of the world. And a lot of these guys, it's like they want to have that kind of image about themselves and portray that kind of personality. It's like I said before about people who want to sell you something. It isn't always just trying to sell you something physical or some kind of investment vehicle. Sometimes they're trying to sell you a certain kind of persona. And that's what these guys are like. Every time somebody posts something, they build a house or whatever. And it wasn't like this guy built some huge house with some incredibly major financial investment. I mean, it's enough, depending how much you have to spend. You know, it might be a lot if that's all you have. But still, people just want to like act like, you know, they're the worldly voice of wisdom and telling you how to not get scammed and how to not, you know, have your money stolen from you. And they just won't let anybody have a good time and feel good about themselves. So, yeah, that's kind of the two different kinds of people you see, though, in the Philippines on YouTube and stuff. You got the people who, you know, look at us, you know, here's our happy life together. And, you know, they're a married couple and enjoying life. And then you've got the other ones who want to make their money their reputation, telling you not to get involved with anything like that and don't make any kind of firm commitments, which is fine, unless you just can't stop ragging on other people though and trying to tear them down and steal their joy. You know, just because you're a bitter old man and think that life is shit on you and you're not happy about where you are and you're trying to hold on to your meager little pittance that you've got to try and eke out an existence on, and you can't afford to do anything like that, and you can't afford to take a chance like that, and you're not willing to really make a serious commitment to someone because you're worried that someday you might have to you know, call it a loss or whatever, or write it off. That doesn't mean everybody has to be that way, you know. Just people need to like be nice. And okay, you know, sometimes we see people doing things and we think, oh, that's really foolish, and sometimes it is. But you don't have to go around being a Debbie Downer and raining on everybody's parade all the time, you know. Just like be mature, live your life. If there's a lesson to be learned from something, there's nothing wrong with pointing that out sometimes, but just to automatically, as a reflex, every time somebody posts something, you know, like, look, here's our house we built, you know, to say, yeah, good luck, you know, you build a house you can never own. Maybe that's not the most important thing to that person, you know. Maybe they're doing something for their family and they can afford to do it, and it's the nice thing to do, and that's just the way it is, you know. So try and be nice. Don't tear other people down just because you don't want to make that kind of commitment yourself, you know.